Hey everybody, welcome. So we're just going to start recording, but we're just having a really nice conversation today. Love having these Zoom calls versus the live streams just to be able to communicate with everybody and chat it up and get to know each other. So we were just having a little chat, and I wanted to really stress this on this call this morning that I have been online, building my business online for 6 years, and I am so grateful. And I'm really encouraging everybody that comes into contact with me and just really wanting to support you to help transition to bringing your business online, because now this is just my thoughts and my perspective, but what it looks like here in Canada anyways is this is not going to the whole isolation and the pandemic, it looks like it's here to stay for a while. And so we're going to have to pivot, you know, to stay in business. Like for myself, I don't have the option of doing the government funding because it just doesn't work for my business because I earn too much income from it. And I wouldn't want to, because why would I do that, right? But because of because of the revenue that I'm earning through my business. So I just want to say that you can still make money online. You can still build your business. It just might look different. And I do believe that I'm a firm believer that everything is happening for us. And so I always try and look to the silver lining. And I think that like everything, different structures and maybe the way we used to do business and live our lives is going to look a lot differently than, we used to do things. So I am just wanting to help anybody who wants to learn how to build their business online and generate revenue online. So that's why I'm hosting these cool little trainings, just to support you guys and really help you to make the moves that it requires to build your business assets, basically, to make money online. So I'm going to share a little bit of a backstory here, and then what we're going to cover today is I'm going to tell you the 4 things that when I first started my business, because obviously I've had to learn a lot of stuff and make a lot of mistakes. And so there were 4 things that really highlighted that, if I could give myself advice and give people who are not generating that revenue online, this is the advice that I would give you. So there's those. I'm also going to talk about how to get your offer in front of the right people. I'm going to talk about, what was this? My printer didn't print, and it just wasn't printing. So I had to rewrite all the stuff I was going to talk about today. So the other thing that I'm going to talk about is how to you can pretty much guarantee that your offer will sell. This is something that I think a lot of people miss this step completely. And if you do miss this step, it's really going to make or break your launch. Okay. And then 5 must-haves for your offer to sell. So that's what we're going to do today. So I started building my business online 6 years ago. There's been so many bumps and hurdles and things that I've learned. And so here's the 4 things that I would recommend to you guys, kind of the most common mistakes. So the first thing is just posting on social media just to show up, right? Like if you're like, I need to show up, I need to be visible, I need to be seen. And you're just posting random shit and posting inspirational quotes and posting questions and just posting, craving that engagement to try and get that engagement. In my opinion, it's kind of a waste of your time. You really need to be intentional and have a plan, because everything you do should be directing people to a sale. That is why, right? We're in business. And so in order to stay in business, we have to make sales. And so if you're just throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping something will stick, you're probably going to fail in your launch plan and getting those consistent leads and consistent sales in your business. Second thing is not consciously and strategically creating a plan to grow your audience. Because here's the thing, if you don't have an audience, then it's going to be very difficult to sell your online courses. So some people like refer to it as like a tribe, or like people that are like-minded, people that are in your community. You need to be constantly building that community, and there's so many different ways that you can build a community. I mean, you could be focusing on building your Facebook business page. You could be focused on building your email list. You could be focusing on building your Facebook group. All of these things are great. And I also want to share that every strategy works. So another common mistake is that shiny object syndrome, where you're like, oh my God, I'm going to try this. And then that strategy didn't work. So I'm going to have to try this, like doing like webinars, or maybe I need to build my group. And so I want to share that every strategy works. But what you need to do is keep focused on that strategy and following through, and not bouncing around and trying like 100 different strategies, because that's going to keep you on the rat race where you never ever figure out one specific strategy. And I'm guilty of that. The other thing is embracing being known, like really focusing on your positioning of who you are. Like, what major problem do you solve? What is that one thing? And getting known for one thing, right? Every successful company that every brand, if you think of them, I guarantee you're going to think of them as one thing, like Tim Hortons, right? Like coffee, or Starbucks in the US. That's just an example that popped into my head. But they're typically known for one thing, and that is very important in the online space. One of the, for myself, I'm going to say another thing because obviously these are my big failures, so I'm highlighting it. And, I was a sales coach, I was a mindset coach, I was, which all of these things definitely are part of who I am. And that's the hard thing as a coach, is like, really, what is that one thing? Or, how do you position yourself? So really taking time to figure out what is that one major problem that you solve. So obviously I'm a lead generation specialist, so I help you to get leads into your funnel. And so the other thing is, when going back to the top of your funnel, like your social media posts, the first thing that I said is like putting shit out onto social media without a consistent plan. So your posts on social media should all be guiding to the problem that you solve, that one problem. So really getting to know your target market. And I know I sound like a broken record because you guys, I know you hear that all the time, right? You got to know your target market. You got to know your target market. But what I want to share is it's not even about like the demographics of the target market. What's more important is the problem that you solve. And I use this as an example. My son is apprenticing to become a plumber. And so do you think a plumber gives a shit whether he's helping somebody who's 80 years old or whether he's helping somebody who's 50? What he does is solve your plumbing problems. I want you to really think about that moving forward. If you haven't already, it doesn't really matter so much about your target market. What matters is the problem that you solve, and then who has that problem, right? That's the key. Because good God, I have hands up, or let me know if you have done that as well, where you figured out all this demographic and, oh, they like going for walks in nature and they are spiritual and blah, 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 right? Like you could go down a rabbit hole trying to figure that out when it really isn't moving the needle, not really moving you forward. So just checking in before I go on. Is that helpful? Oh, I want to go. Colton says, yes, being there where you're figuring out all that demographics. I want to say, just save you some time and focus on what problem you solve. Okay, so on my journey over the last 6 years, I'm a data girl. Like I love numbers. I just love numbers. And so there were times when I felt like, God, like, am I smoking some pipe dream? Like, can I really make money online? And I could see I knew other successful entrepreneurs. And what I started to do, and how I feel like I figured it out, is like, I started looking at these people and I started looking like, what do all of them have in common? Like, there's gotta be a pattern. Like, because I like looking for patterns, because I believe that you shouldn't recreate the wheel. You just need to look at those who have achieved what you want to achieve, and then, learn from them. And so I remember the day when I finally like figured it out, and it was like, oh my gosh, like I love Katrina Ruth. I've been following her for 6 years. Jen Scalia, Lucky Bitch, like these are some of the people that I really looked up to. And I'm like, what is the thing that they all have in common? And what I discovered is they all had funnels. Every single one of them had funnels, and every single one of those people. So these people that they're like $1 million at least. Like Katrina Ruth is well over $1 million a year earner. And what I recognized is she had a lead magnet, and they were all running Facebook ads. So I remember that moment, and I've been in Katrina Ruth, and I know she talked about having a lead magnet, but there was a particular moment when it went click. Oh, I get it. And then and Russell Brunson, I took some of his trainings as well. He is the CEO of Clickfunnels. And so that's when things really started to make sense. And then I started building my own funnels. And in 1 month, when I first launched my funnel, I 5 times my income. And so I'm like, this works, right? And so that, I'm trying to remember. It's almost probably 2 years ago that I started to really discover like this funnels formula, somewhere around there. I can't remember exactly. Okay, sorry, what did Colton say here? Numbers are, yes, numbers are amazing. And so here's like the basic of a funnel, and why it's so amazing is why a funnel works versus just posting on social media and blasting crap out into the world. A funnel is amazing because it actually gets your people who are interested in what you have. It brings in those targeted leads is what it does. And so the 3 steps of a funnel is, the first step is you have traffic, which is like your social media. The second step is you have a hook. And that hook is like a lead magnet, a freebie, like I have a guide, your ultimate lead generation funnel master plan. I know Colton, we created him a 6-figure blueprint. So it can work like that, where you have a lead magnet, a page where people sign in, put their name and their email, and they come into your community. So that's really, and you want your lead magnet to be very closely aligned to your offer, like what you're going to sell. So you want those two to be closely aligned, because if they opt into that lead magnet, chances are they're pretty interested in what your offer is. So that's why it works. So you post on social media, you post your link to your lead magnet, and you bring people in. Now what's really important is on the back end of the funnel, and this where a lot of people, they drop the ball. On the back end, that's the second part where you're building relationships. It's the really, really important, because every business is built upon relationships. So you bring them into your community, but then you cannot stop by, you need to keep interacting with them, whether it be in your Facebook group, whether it be on your Facebook business page, on your email list. Like, I'm a huge fan of Facebook group and email marketing. To me, those two put together are like the perfect combination to really be able to build a strong foundation to your business. And so you gotta, by doing these events like I'm doing today, where you're, providing value, showing people this is how you do it, this is what you need, by sending them consistent emails, you're just building that know, like, and trust factor with your ideal clients. And so that's really important. And then the last part of it is you're creating an offer that solves their problems. So that's how you transition cold traffic to buying prospects, right? From leads to prospects. And the big piece is, every piece of the funnel is very important, but that middle piece is really, really important, that warming up your target market. Because I've seen so many people, they'll create a lead magnet, but then they never ever send an email, or they never host any type of warming up content. Okay, so that's really important. Any questions? Just let me know if there's any questions. I talk really fast and I talk a lot with my hands. So my mom watched one of my videos and she's like, you need to stop moving your hands daily. So I'm trying to put them like underneath my computer so they're not like flying everywhere. So, okay, so now we're getting into the good stuff. So that's like so what I just explained is like the very basic foundation. That's your rock solid foundation. So now I want to share like some other this was like the sprinkles on the ice cream, like just the little bit of extra that you can do to really guarantee that your online courses sell. So I said this this tip that I'm going to share with you right now is something that a lot of people miss. So and I've done this before, I would just go with inspiration. It's like, oh, I get this idea, like, oh, I think my ideal audience would love this offer. They would love, for example, I'm just throwing stuff out of my head. I should create an online course or a workshop or however you want to deliver the paid content. Like I should create on 20 daily sales activities that they need, that would be really, really, really helpful for my ideal clients. And then what they do is they take that idea and go right into creation mode of launch, and sometimes people spend months creating an online course or an offer. And what I want to say is, don't waste all that time creating an offer that you haven't validated yet. So what you need to do to guarantee that your online course is going to sell is you need to test it. So what I recommend in the courses that I share is that you need to test that offer before you create it. So in order to test your offer, you need to have an audience, right? And of the one target market, the one major problem that you solve, and then what that solution is. So then here's some different ways that you can test it. So one of my favorites is if you have a Facebook group, creating a poll. Putting polls into your Facebook group is an excellent way to test your market. You can also create a poll there's all sorts of different ways to make polls, but I usually use Wufoo as a place so then you can take that and put that out to your email list as well. So then you just get that feedback from your audience. The more people you can get feedback from, the better, right? Because then it's solidifying and the data is truth, like numbers don't lie. So if you think, and sometimes when I do this, it's actually so surprising to me because I'll be like, oh, this idea is going to be the winner. And like 2 times out of 3, it's not. The audience wants something completely different than what I thought, right? So that's one way. A second way is doing market research calls. So if you have rapport with some people who are ideal clients, you can just say, these are great. Market research calls are so awesome. So I would just reach out to them on Facebook Messenger and be like, hey, would you be willing to give me a little bit of feedback? Like I'm thinking of creating an offer and I value your thoughts and your opinions. And I would love to get feedback from you. Not once has someone ever said no to me. They're like, oh yeah, no problem. And then you just hop on a call and it's just a conversation. And, you would ask questions like, would you buy this offer? What problems are you facing right now? And that sort of thing, like just really be open and honest with them and get their feedback. So that can really be beneficial. I already said the polls to the email, like to your email list. Oh, but here's another thing you can do too. In your emails, when you're sending emails out to your market, what you can, or to them, you can test headlines and I like to use that as a test. So if I'm like, I don't know, let me think of an example. Say I'm like 9 ways to use Facebook to generate leads. And then I do like 9 ways to sell your online course or something like that. then you can like test to see which one people are interested in by the most opens. So that's another great way that you can test your audience. You can do that with your Facebook business page as well, because you can look at the data from your Facebook business page. I would say the business page is not as accurate as your email list. And the reason is because of the algorithms on Facebook. So, you know, sometimes it's a little skewed just because maybe somebody didn't like your post and they liked the other one. And just sometimes the algorithms kind of mess up with that. And the other thing is you can look, if you shoot video a lot, like, so test your headline and then create live streams on Facebook, you can tell your views. So if you're getting, and how long people watched it, that sort of thing. So that gives you data and feedback, because the data is really going to make a difference. Like, it's the truth. You know, you got to listen to that target market, because here's a cool thing is that the target market is what puts money in your pocketbook. So you really need to pay attention to what they're saying and solve those problems. When you're solving people's problems, they will buy from you. And when they believe that your product is exactly what they need, they're going to say yes to that offer. How's everybody doing? I feel like I'm like, woo! It's okay. All right. Love it. Thanks, Kim. Kim, give me a thumbs up, so it's all good. All right. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about today is there is actually 5 elements that are really important to having your offer sell. So first is like, you got to test that target market. Once that's like, you've got something that you're like, they're responding to, they want this, then with your whole launching and like bringing it out into the world, it has to have good energy behind it. So it has to have like aligned energy where you are like so excited about this offer and so confident, and you just are like, can't wait for people to join this offer because it's such high value and it's such a great deal for your people to get their hands on this, and you're so excited. So it has to be in like 100% alignment, an alignment of what you want. So here's something that I want to share as well. It matters, okay? It so matters. This thing is really important, because if you're not, your energy, like if your vibe is not there, people feel it. And so, and things change. This is what's so great about the online course, being online, is you can do whatever feels in alignment to you. So a month ago, I had totally different offers. I was doing done for you, right? Done for you. I did a done for you funnel for Colton. Now, that's not a high priority offer to me right now. And the reason is, like Kim said, everything's changed. My kids are home. Like a month, 6 weeks ago, I worked a minimum of 10 hours a day, because when you're doing done for you, it's very time intensive, right? Because you're building funnels for other people. It's extremely time intensive. And I love doing it. I love doing it. But unfortunately, right at this moment, I can't work 10 hours a day. Can't. It's not even possible. My kids are home. I'm so consumed with guilt. It's like, I can't do it. So that's the beautiful thing, is you can pivot. And now I've actually got one course and one membership site that's going to be, I'm launching in the next week or so, because I had to pivot to have that complete alignment. Because even though I want to do done for you, I know that I can't do that at the moment. So that's the beautiful thing about online business, is you can really make it adaptable and pivot very easily to have that complete alignment. Because I really am a firm believer, and I know Colton's going to be giving me a hell yeah, is that I know that you can create your ultimate life. I know you can. Like, there's no limits, no limitations, no restrictions. The best advice that I could ever give anybody is like, follow the joy. Do what? Colton's like a giant hell yeah. You got to do what lights you up. And okay, tears are truth for me, and I'm going to cry right now, but I believe you can have it all. I do. I believe you can do whatever you want. There's no rules. All you have to do is trust yourself and move forward with what feels good to you. I do believe that. And so, okay, that was like a big long for that alignment piece, but it has to be, right? It has to be an alignment. Second thing, it has to be like something that's kind of fresh and new. I think that if you launched something for like 30 days in a row, no, I meant to say 3 months, like over and over and over and over and over. If you're not growing your audience, like bringing, this is going to sound so bad, but I'm going to say it anyways, because that's how I roll. But if you're not bringing fresh blood into your audience, then that audience is going to grow stale, and they're going to start ignoring your messaging. Like if it's not resonating with them, they're going to start ignoring that messaging. So that's why it is important to constantly be growing your audience with the lead generation funnel, like bringing in those new leads into your business. So that's why, so that it has to be like fresh and exciting. So if you're not consciously growing your audience, you're probably going to want to create a few different offers just to create it kind of exciting. Third thing, it has to solve a problem. And the fourth thing, that problem needs to be very important for your audience right now, right? It's the people will buy when they feel like they can't not, like they need to get this problem solved now. It's life or death, right? They need to get that solved right now. And the fifth thing, this is really important. So I would say the most important are number one, alignment, and this last one are very like the top. And it has to have urgency and scarcity. So that's why having launches, like specific launches where there's cart open, cart close, you're going to miss out if you don't get it by this date, that is going to activate and motivate your buyer to buy. Because if it's this, you see this all the time. And I think when I started 6-7 years ago building my business, it worked, but I don't feel like it works as well now. Maybe because of the attention span of people and stuff, and is the book a discovery call, right? Or book a strategy call with me. Or, if you just do that, like it doesn't really motivate people to buy, because they'll be like, oh, she's just going to post that, or he's going to post that next week or next month. Like it's not something delicious and irresistible. It's kind of boring, don't you think? Just book a discovery call, kind of boring. So that's why having like specific launches and creating, even if it's one-to-one coaching, but even just naming sort of a program will make it more enticing for that person, for your target market to buy from you. So this is what I wanted to cover on our call today, just give you some of this goodness. And I just, some of these things that I've learned on my journey, and how important having a funnel, because a funnel really is a predictable marketing strategy. All right. Colton says people would rather pay than just have another free call. Yeah, I agree with that. And they need something more tangible than free calls. Yeah, awesome. Love that. Thanks for your input, Colton. I appreciate that. So before we hop off, I want to just, get you guys to hop on here, share your feedback. Let me know if you have any questions, anything that maybe is not clear that you might want to ask me. This is your time to do it. So we'll start with Kim. Putting you on the spot.
Okay. No, that was awesome. Definitely, solving the problem, and the research part, I feel like I've done really well at the last week. So
awesome.
That's good validation for me that
yes,
going in the right direction and finding what my people need right now. Yeah, so I think for me, like you talk a lot about Facebook, and I know you and I, we spoke lots before, but can you do lead generation and all of that in other platforms too?
Absolutely.
Like your LinkedIn.
Yeah. So I build everything in Clickfunnels. It's just the platform that I've mastered and I know a lot about. So basically you build think of it as like your assets. It's kind of like the tangible thing. So you would build your whole funnel in Clickfunnels, and then all you do is, so the traffic part, like on your different platforms, you just take that link and you say, let's use LinkedIn, because I know LinkedIn is something where your target market is. So you would just create social media content, speaking to that problem, right? To that problem that you solve, all sorts of content around that, and then give them that link to join your, maybe you have a free resource or something like that. So for bringing in leads, like having a free resource works really, really well. And then it comes down to, right, there's a small percentage that are ready to buy now. So it's bringing in, those leads. And then it's, what's the word I'm looking, it's like prospecting, right? You always have to be prospecting to see, who's ready to buy and who's ready to work for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Colton, do you have any input?
Hey, yes. Okay,
Hey.
So I have a quick question. First and foremost, that was amazing. Took so many notes. Absolutely loved it.
Thank you.
So when you are doing lead generation, right? So you go build a ClickFunnel, you've done your market research and all of that. Yeah. When you go to, let's say, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and you're creating the content to attract people in outside of your email marketing, would you recommend, doing text posts, photo posts, Facebook Lives, or a mix of all three to really maximize the energy around your lead generation?
I would do a mix of all three, because everybody's unique, like in how they like to interpret and bring in their content. So I would do a mix of all three. And when you get to a stage where your lead magnet is just converting, then the next stage to that, if you really want to ump the impact, is to run Facebook ads. Because Facebook, like organically, takes a little bit more manual effort, right? And once you start running Facebook ads, Facebook is like your little salesperson, right? They're just putting it in front of your target market. So yeah, that's kind of the stage. But I always recommend that you do it organically first, unless you just have money that you want to spend to test it, right? But yeah, so. It's a cool system, you guys. It's so beautiful. So I tested my ultimate lead generation funnel for a month, and I'm getting consistent leads every day. I don't even know where the leads are coming from. So to me, that's valid. Like, I'm like, oh, I have no idea who this person is. So when it starts to flow like that, and you're seeing leads come in every day, like, so this coming week, where Laura and I are setting up Facebook ads to get
awesome. Awesome. Now, where were that lead generation posted? Was that like a mix between just sending messages, making posts, or was that like on your profile, the links were there, and that was creating the lead generation?
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure where everything's coming from, but I did a training, and I found it. I did a training last week, 9 ways to generate leads organically on Facebook. It's really good. And it basically tells all of that. But yeah, like just making sure, like on your personal profile, and I just kind of go into, in that training, like different places that you can put that link to generate those leads. And I think that's probably where I guess that's probably where it's coming from. Also, one thing I do in my group, you guys can post your lead magnets on Tuesdays and your offers on Thursdays. So there are a few groups that I'm in that I know allow that. So not every week, because some weeks I totally forget, but you can also post those in other people's groups, which will generate more leads as well. Sounds good, Colton?
Oh yes, sorry. Okay. Yes, yeah.
Cool.
I forget my video's not on, and I'm nodding my head.
I'm like
Okay.
Yeah. So once I get that video up, I'll send it to you too as well, Colton, so if you want to have a peek at that. And for anybody else who wants to,
absolutely.
I'm going to put
awesome.
it in the units. But I'm also going to let you guys know that next week, I'm not going to be doing a live training event, just giving everybody a heads up, and I'll put that in the group because my husband and I have a few sideline businesses and we do water pumping. And so it's going to melt really fast. So I'm going to be very, very busy next week. So thank you for hopping on, everybody. I really appreciate, I hope this was valuable for you. Thank you for the feedback. And I'm just sending you so much love, and just have a beautiful day, and get out there and get really, creating these business assets. If you guys need any help with Clickfunnels, I know Colton already has it, but Kim, like if that's something you're thinking about, like I'm here for you if you have any questions, or anybody else. I'll put my Clickfunnels link up in this as well, or I'll share it when I post the video in the trainings or whatever. But yeah, so I guess that'll be it. We'll sign off, and you guys just have a fabulous day.
Thank you so much, dear Queen.
You're welcome. You're welcome, guys.